Hello, everybody. How are you today, Sunday, May 7th? And if you noticed, I'm dressed up a little because my hair is acting up again, because tomorrow is my birthday. And so I thought I would dress up and celebrate the day. Hello, everybody. Oh, I was trying to get some pictures downloaded. I couldn't do it, so I'll figure it out somehow today. Thank you, sweetie. Yeah, I'm kind of excited about my birthday. Let me see. I want to show you. I found this idea. Hold on. This dumb hair. Why, when you're dressing up nice, then your hair doesn't work? But I'm going to turn the camera on and show you what I got for my birthday. I asked Mark for this, and I've always had my camera sitting on a plastic miniature laundry basket from the dollar store. Now we got me this amazing stand for my laptop so I can put it up higher. See, I can see y'all higher near the camera, and it turns very easily. So when we go to do our show and tell, I can easily do this. So I am so excited, and so I'm thrilled. And it's funny, it was kind of a fancy one, and so I was thinking, I don't know, this is a little more, wasn't the cheapest one. And Deb, usually it's like, get the cheapest one. But when we saw how this one turns, we kind of went, okay, maybe that's the one we want. So it holds my laptop up now, so I'm not always looking down. And I forget, good for him, he took away my plastic basket, because it was hard for me to type because I had to put my hands up like this and try to type. Now the whole laptop's on an angle. So what can I say? We're getting fancy here at OurTimeToQuilt. So, and it works wonderfully. I absolutely love it. In fact, I can put it pretty darn close. So see, now I just go like this, and hopefully I'll be able to see more easily when you talk and try to get my attention. So now I want to go back, but I'm sorry I was running late. I had some great pictures on here to show you for show and tell. I haven't gotten them downloaded. Do you ever feel like, here I go. Have you ever noticed, do you ever feel like sometimes the faster you try to go, the slower you actually end up moving? Lately, I'm trying so hard to get some things done, and I feel like I'm sometimes going backwards. So, I don't know. It's been very cloudy, a little bit rainy around lately, and maybe just a couple days of good sunshine would get me going again. But let's see who's here. There is Diane, 57. Shift happens, and then Barbara Smith and Marsha and Middleton. Why am I having a hard time saying Mitty? Hi. Oh, Sonia's here, sweetheart. Happy Mother's Day almost, you ladies. Melanie is here. Crafty Pat. Hi, Pat, hon. Mary. And I've got to, I want to tell Sonia, I really did like Greenville. It's really pretty. It was a little scary getting on 85 to do everything around Greenville, but it seemed like a really pretty city. And so I said, I've got to remember to tell Sonia that her state, I got to see part of your state, and it's very pretty. So some of the houses were really nice, the neighborhoods, and just the look of the area, So, okay, Melanie and Pat and Mary is here. Jody, our sweetheart, only has a few days left before her big celebration of saying goodbye to a stage and something that she's ready to be done with. So we're happy for you, Miss Jody. Yes. Okay, let's see. The countdown has begun. Oh, I love that, Miss Jody. Kathy Klein is here. And Melanie, how is our Willow? I did some grand dog sitting the other day, so we love our pups, don't we? But hello, Willow, if you can hear me. So hello, everybody. Oh, good thinking. I'm kind of reading all of this. Oh, nice, nice, nice. Okay. Yeah, let's go to the beach for a birthday party. I'm game. And then we'll have a I'm done with this crap party for Miss Jody. So that would be awfully, awfully nice. Okay. Oh, she's sitting with you watching this show. Well, Jody's cat, when we used to do our live Jitsi, Jody's cat would come up and get near when we started talking and laughing. Oh, is Diane starting to feel a little better? I certainly hope so. So, and don't forget, I'll go ahead and I saw this, so I thought, let's talk about it. Don't forget, we're going to do a free week-long class, probably the second week of July. We're going to try to do it either on Zoom or Jitsi, so y'all can chat. We can even see each other if you want to. You can either have an icon, what are they called? Not icon, but you can have a, you don't have to have you actually live. If you want, you can put a little picture up or just have your initial. And so we're going to do a week-long class, a couple hours a day, and I'm going to teach you how to do a Bargello quilt. And they're easier than you think. So this was a free pattern I found from Braided Bargello Quilts. This was a free pattern I found. I'm trying to think of where I found it. Now, if you do a kit like this or a Bargello quilt like this, okay, that may be a little trickier. But what we're going to do, we'll probably not do something quite this complex. But we use the tube method and we'll roll the pieces to get them in the right order. Start collecting your scraps. You can use up to 20 different fabrics. I'm thinking that we'll do kind of a graded but with a nice bright and a nice dark. And we're going to put those beside each other because when you put the lightest light and the darkest dark next to each other, it makes excitement happen. And it also will help you track the Bargello pattern. So be looking for your fabrics as we get closer to the date. I've been doing all kinds of research and I'm going to have a handout just explaining things to you, giving you some history on the Bargello, but we're going to sit and sew together. We're going to have an actual class. And so be on the lookout for that. Well, today, while we're taking a walk through what's been going on. Oh, I definitely need this one. Okay, we are doing the beach quilt Thursday evenings, and we've just got 2 weeks left, and we'll have to figure out what is going to be our next project. But here's where we are at this point. We're getting there. And I'm very tickled, but we are getting there. And I'm also looking at this. I thought, oh, the beach grasses are looking a little green, but I haven't yet added the golds. Beach grasses aren't lush green. They're growing in sand. Nutrients aren't plentiful for them. So, but we will be working on that. Then, so that was from Thursday. I did the ink tint first. I blocked in the color. Then I did ink tints to bring out the texture and the detail. And now we're doing thread painting. And I showed y'all how I went online and found free photos of seagulls and then printed them out on the paper. You can buy fabric that's paperback that you can run through the printer. But let's say you don't have any of that on hand, but you'd like to print out some neat things like that to put on your beach quilt. All you have to do is take a piece of white fabric and wash it really good with just like a Blue Dawn detergent or whatever, just a good old straight detergent. Wash it really good, then rinse it really good, and then dry it, and then press it. Then get a piece of freezer paper the size of a piece of printer paper and take and iron your white fabric onto the sticky side of the freezer paper. That way you can run it through the printer and all is good. I had that still from the pack I owned, and I think it might be specially treated to help hold on to the inkjet ink, the colors. But then when it's all done drying out of your printer, you take your hot iron and iron right on top of it just to help set the color. And I typically do not wash my art quilts, so I'm not worried if it, the color would run out or anything like that. Is Polly here? You watched the tape show from Thursday. Oh, you sweetheart. It is really fun. I'm hoping you're getting a chance to see that landscape quilts are not as scary as you would think. And there's all different levels of intensity with landscape quilts. I have really enjoyed this beach quilt because it's been very easy and soothing. The last quilt, which is on the other side of the design wall, but the woodland quilt with the waterfall, that was a lot more intense. There was a lot more little bits and busy bits of work. This beach one, I said, no wonder the beach is so relaxing to people. Just doing a art quilt of a beach is relaxing. So now, I found this online, and it is called 15 Characteristics of an Outstanding Quilter, which we all are. Yep, we are. And this was, I'm trying to think of what site I saw this on. It came from the Lanark County Quilters somewhere between 1940 and 1970s. And I found it on Water Girl Quilt Company Crew. Water Girl Quilt Company. So if you're Mary, you're so funny. I miss Polly. Oh, y'all are so cute. Okay, number 1, the first of the 15 characteristics of an outstanding quilter. They possess the patience and commitment to complete a long-term project such as a quilt. Yeah, I sometimes. They have the skill and precision to produce work with fine craftsmanship. They have an artistic eye for good design. Yes, we do. They have a tremendous self-discipline to produce consistent stitching throughout the piece. I can't go that far with me. They have a natural gift of creativity and originality. Yes, we do. They have a rare ability to see connections in pattern and to draw ideas from many sources. They possess a high level of aesthetic skills in order to situate patterns to set them off to their advantage. I know y'all do. They have ability to focus on solution, not on regrets. When they make mistakes, they learn from the experience. I do. They experiment with open minds to improve, in order to improve. Yes, they meaningfully communicate with others in the quilting circle to share ideas. Yes, we do. They create designs that have the power to withstand time. Whoa, that's heavy. Their works are easily distinguished from others of their own time. They have the ability to portray light, perspective, color, and space. They teach others and pass down their knowledge. Yes, we do. They inspire others to be the best they can be. And I totally, totally agree with that. So I thought you might just like a little pat on the back. Oh, I know. Oh, gosh, Polly, you're right. I love reading vintage sewing instructions or like Singer Sewing Manual that reminds you to make sure your house cleaning is done first. And then you can enjoy sewing. And when your husband gets home from his long day at work, you've still got a dinner made and a clean home. Are you kidding me? Just ask Mark. Honestly, just ask Mark. Yep, get your pearls on. Oh my God, that's hilarious. So I look at it this way. I've always told my daughters, when my time comes to go and I get to the pearly gates, because that's, we always can hope. And they say, you did such a wonderful job keeping a clean house. I will consider myself an abject failure because there's so much more fun and exciting things to do. And when I'm dust, who cares about the dust? That's somebody else's problem. So it's like, I'm sorry. Too little time and too much fun to be had. So, oh God. Oh, June Cleaver. Did you notice that the husband always sat reading his paper and she was either cooking or mending or darning? And I'm like, excuse me? And so anyway, it was so funny when my girls were at that tweens age where I'm really wanting them to see the big picture in life and to be anybody they wanted to be and dream big. And I thought, oh, let's watch some of my favorite shows when I was growing up. Oh my gosh. So I ended up sitting there the whole time we're watching the shows going, oh, that's ridiculous. Look at the way she's treated. Oh my goodness. Look, and I think they were like, okay, Mom. So today, I wanted to have this entire quilt ready for you. And it is really looking pretty. For some reason, it's showing up really beautifully on the camera today. Let me bring this up. Look, there's one block you can't see. But I think I'm really going to love this. And I did put block number 12 on the site. So Melanie, number 12, put up this morning. And I'm considering, I love this quilt so much. I'm considering making 3 more blocks, but I'm not sure. I'm not going to promise it yet. But I sent Melanie a picture of 3 more blocks that I thought were really pretty. So we will see. And Diane 57, it's so nice to have you back. We've missed you, hon. Uh-oh, somebody's okay. Oh, they're just talking to each other. My daughters are doing their planting thing today. And since lately, I feel so far behind. Asked on my daughter nearby. I said, could we do that thing where for my birthday present you come and help me plant my flowers? She goes, sure. Especially because she had a huge vet bill for the puppy. So she'll be over next Saturday and plant my plants. And speaking of planting plants, Miss Mary sent wonderful pictures of the things she got planted. So we'll be looking at that during show and tell. Jody, isn't that wonderful? Mark does 2/3 of the cooking here, and it's wonderful. What I do to contribute is I do the real nitty gritty cooking, the cooking from scratch, and then I always cook in large batches and freeze it. And then he will take those and put them together. Or if we're having a convenience meal like barbecue sandwiches, he does that. And he has a couple really good recipes that he does. One of them is tortilla soup. He makes the best tortilla soup. And he is really good at making pork curry or chicken curry. I've never made a curry in my life. And so when he cooks big, those are the two that he mainly does. But he is wonderful. And I think he said it just kind of helps him relax. Uh-oh, go let the puppies out, Diane. So, well, actually, it's nod to the 19th, just because I thought nod and 19 kind of sound like each other. So it's nod to the 19th century. Because when I got those fabrics that reminded me of the French general fabrics, I just thought it's got to be a mid 19th century, or as we used to say, Civil War quilt. But I'd like to say 19th century now, especially because we're not looking back at the Civil War with a whole lot of fondness lately. So today, I was trying to work on this. I keep saying this is block 11, but in the group, this is block 9. Now, I thought Friday I spent time over taking care of my granddog. Then yesterday, I halfway groomed my grommet. My other two were groomed at the groomer. But my grommet, he's very tender, and he did not like being at the groomer last year. And since he only has to be groomed once or twice a year, I said, I'm doing him myself. He's my boy. So anyway, and don't forget, oh, that's fine, Mary. Don't forget, if you want me to see something, put it in caps. It doesn't mean you're yelling. It just means you're helping, Oh, the fabric is so fitting for that quilt. Thank you, Miss Mary. So this morning, I thought, well, I'm not going to get the blocks put together. That's for sure. And I had to get that number 12 block finished, writing the instructions and get it put on the site. I thought, well, at least I'll go finish block number 9 and then get block 12 made, because 10 and 11 are already on here. They've already been made. In fact, they're right there together. I think it was those two, or might have been one of that, but I know that the Jacob's ladder was one of the 10 or 11. So I sat down with this. I gave myself plenty of time. And honest to goodness, I had my seam ripper in my hand every 5 minutes. I was like, this is not funny. And so this is the block. It's not a hard block, but it's a block where you have to pay attention. Like, okay, I'll give you an example. You see right here, these corner blocks. These are in the corner. This is 3.5 inches, 3.5, 4.5 long, and 1.25 inches wide. So it altogether, this has to make a 4.5 inch block. Well, you've got to pay attention. First, I had directional fabric. So I don't want that to be upside down if I can help it. Then I had to make sure the long piece of fabric was in the right place. Well, then I had these blocks, and you've got to really pay attention to these blocks. And I had to redo these. In fact, I had to redo them. And on some of them, I kept looking, okay? They're mirror image blocks, okay? Mirror image. I kept sewing them wrong, trying to somehow sew them the right and both the same instead of mirror imaging. That's what I mean about just not being able to get something through my head today. And so, and I know why it is. When Mark was gone on his bike ride, I never really slept good. And that leaves me foggy after a while. I kept having to wake up during the time I normally sleep really good. I had to get up and take care of the dogs. And I could go back to sleep, but that's not the same. But anyway, after much trial and tribulation, I got this row done. Yay, Deb, I actually got it. Now, it's not perfect. See how that point doesn't perfectly match up? This one's much better. You know what? A done block is so much better than perfect. So that's the nice middle row. And I love the fussy cut of that flower. That is just so striking. So that's my middle block. Then I went to make my top block. And I put the darn thing together wrong again. So not only, because I had run out of this fabric because I used it for all of the sashing, so I had to take and piece together to have enough to get this done. And I'm so frustrated. And then when I sewed to make, it's not hard, trust me. You have a rectangle. I had a rectangle this big. You sew along a diagonal line, put a square right here, a square here, sew along that diagonal line that you can make either by pressing them or by drawing it. And so, but you see how the angles have to be right, and then you have to have a mirror image and put the fabrics in the right places, because these are two separate pieces. Let me tell you, I got so frustrated. So my seam ripper, they make them for a reason. And for whatever reason, I'm making the best use out of them today. So one thing I'm going to do, because I'm trying not to rip the fabric when I unstitch, but what I'm going to do is drop my stitch length way down. And I do that. If I have to tear stuff out too often, I'm afraid I might have little nicks in the fabric. So drop your stitch length down to 1.8. And that way, if you did nick it, hopefully it holds together. Okay, so now let me take out this other side so I can sew it in correctly. Is Michelle Lang on here? I love seeing Michelle Lang, and Betty Middleton is here. There's Michelle Lang. Oh, it is so good to see all of you. And Michelle, I've got a new computer stand that holds my laptop right here. So I don't have to have it sitting on a plastic laundry basket trying to type this way anymore. Now it's leaning at an angle so I can see my keyboard. I'm just too fancy for myself, let me tell you. All right, so now I'll bring y'all down so you can see what I'm doing, because I'm going to try to get this right. Let's see. And if I do get it right, I would appreciate applause. You don't have to throw money, but applause would be nice. So, okay, this is where it gets tricky. It looks like a star that has a border around it, so everything has to be in the right place. So this is this top row right here. And this pattern has been on the site. It's there for you. It's number 9. I kept calling it 12 or 11, but it's 9. Well, let me quickly. If you take out stitches, please make sure to repress your fabric, because taking out the stitches will leave the edges all wibbly wobbly, and you don't want that. All right, so I'm waiting for my iron to heat up. It shouldn't take too long. Anyway, come on, iron. And make sure you pin to have, now, let me show you something else. This is the most important intersection for you to pay attention to right here, okay? And I did pretty good on this one. Not all of them are that good. But is Denise there? Oh, Denise, hello, sweetie. And Cheryl Hogan, you're still on vacation. Yay, Cheryl. Oh, I hope you're having fun, hon. But anyway, I couldn't make both of these meet. Well, this one's going to be in the seam allowance. So this is the one to make meet, okay? All right. Now, but I'm going to get all the unsewn blocks repressed, re-ironed. I don't want them to feel repression, but okay, here we go. So now I'm going to bring this picture right here so I can get this right. And so here are these. All right, this one has to go this way. This one, yeah, I can see a little place where I nicked that, so definitely sew them. All right, so these go like this. Then this one goes like this. Aha. Okay, before I forget, I'm going to pin these together. You know, they say haste makes waste. Boy, is that true. When I get in a hurry, I make so many mistakes. And, you know, tomorrow I'll be 67. And you know what? I'm sorry, but I can't multitask like I used to. I'm lucky to do one thing right. But anyway, all right. Now Mark said he came down and checked this to see if it would hold. Oh, well, it is holding. I think sometimes when I tighten and loosen it, I don't quite get it right back in the right spot. But now you can tell that I'm doing tiny little stitches. And here they are. I might go back and do them just a little touch wider to cover where the seam was last time. All right, so that's good. Now, okay, and I'll press this to the dark. So let me, whoops, okay. I see a little nick right here. Now, what I would do for this little nick is I'll take and put, come on. I'll take and put some fray check on it, and then I'll stitch over it again. I don't know why this fray check container is stopping up every time I finish using it. I might have to cut. I think I have to cut a bigger opening to the nozzle. Okay. So now let me come put my fray check on here. Oh, the fray check in the bottle is very thick. Well, that's not good. Okay, let me get it on here. Whoops. Now that's too much. So let me grab a tissue and wipe that off. All right. So now I have the fray check on it. blow it to get it a little bit dry. Then I'm going to come in here and stitch it again, a little bit wider at that point. I'm dropping my stitch length down to 1.6, and then I'm going to carefully go back and just take a little extra nip right there. All right, and I blended it back in where I'd already sewn. So now let's look. Yep, there, got it all. And you know, anytime you're sewing that close to the edge, because I can't give it 1/8 of an inch, or I can't give it even 1/16 of an inch. So if you fray check first, then you do the tiny stitching, you'll have the best chance of having this stay together. I don't see any nicks in this fabric, so let's hope. I'm so impatient. Jan, a wonderful sew friend that used to be in my guild, she does perfectly at taking seam ripping her seams. And what she does is she goes along and she takes out every 4th or so stitch, and then she can more easily open the fabric. But I'm so impatient. I want to, and I'm going to go ahead and iron it that way, because for this fabric, for this fabric, that's the dark. Also, when I made this block, let me show you. Okay, got that pressed. All right. Now, when I did the middle section here, let me bring this up a little. When I did the middle, hold on. You're there for a wedding. Oh, California, how nice. So when I did this middle section, since these have a lot of seams coming together, I definitely pressed to the dark, so I didn't have to try to fight with this. So then when I do this top section, if I press outwards, then my seams will nestle. And let's see how they do right now. I'm going to still pin because y'all are here watching, and I have to try to set a better example. Okay, so I got that. And I'll put another just where these big intersections meet. But I had a really tough time with this block today. Very frustrating. Okay. Oh, let me turn my stitch length bigger now, since I'm not sewing over areas that were ripped out earlier. So anyway, I got my computer, my laptop stand, which I really love. And then Mark and I said, I want to go out for a steak tonight. So I think we're going to go to Longhorn Steakhouse. You know, I'm so silly. If I'm going to spend good money on going out to dinner, I was checking all the reviews. Which one? I didn't want Texas Roadhouse because it's supposedly family friendly, and I want it kind of nice, and you know, I want to feel special. So, and I don't want them throwing peanuts on the floor. But that, boy, did that restaurant get good reviews. So there is this, and I think I am going to press the seams this way so I'm not running into complicated seams right there. All right, so I'm going to press this one. All right, I wish I had steam in the iron. So now let me bring this back up a wee bit. Okay, so here is this part of the block. Now, for the last row, let me grab my pieces for this because I am not going to mess this up again. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to post them. All right, I'm going to put the picture right here. I'm putting this picture. Let me bring this up just a touch for right now. All right, so I've got the picture of it right here. So I can look. I've got the other part of the block right here because I just wasn't seeing it earlier. All right, this one, I did a slightly different color here and here, so they go opposite, so I know that works. Then this one goes with this one. Now here's where I need to, okay, looks like the flowery part goes to the outside. Let me see, how does this look? Pretty good, but you know what? Darn it. I wanted to use the blue here, but what I'm noticing is I've made it so scrappy, you don't fully get the outlined star effect. Where if I had done, you see what I'm saying? I'm going to leave it this way for now, but I can always change it. Until I quilt it, I reserve the right to change it around. But I've got to remember that this is one, since I'm making the blocks one at a time over periods of a week or two, I tend to forget to check out placement of fabric. Oh, thank you, Denise. You make me feel good. Oh, well, honestly, I have learned to embrace my imperfection because I have heard y'all say that you like that I show the good and the bad and the ugly on here, and it makes you then not feel so overwhelmed. And because, you know, I mean, who of us have said, oh, I know how to paper piece, but you haven't done it for a while, and then you make every mistake on that next first block. So it's just a way of saying, hey, you know, I'm not perfect, and if this helps you feel better about something that you've been making, then I'm happy with that. All right, so hopefully I've done this one correctly. Yes, I think I did. All right, let me press it really quickly and get it put on there, and yay, yay, yay. Okay, here. I love these fabrics. I am just so, I have had the best time. And it's funny because I came home with those fabrics and I thought, oh, I've got so many quilts in front of this, you know, because I'm really I'm terrible at finishing things and I'm really trying to do better. So I thought, sneaky me, I said, well, hey, if I make this a group project, then I'll actually get it done. And I can be, you know, playing with my fabric under the excuse of, yeah, I'm doing it for the girls, you know? Not that, oh, I'm playing with the new fabric instead of finishing over 100 UFOs that I have. So I'm not always the very best example for you guys, but then I say, you know what? Life is short. Have fun. And, you know, one day I won't have to worry about the UFOs. They'll do whatever they're going to do. Hopefully they'll find a guild or something and say, hey, do you want all her unfinished things? So, okay, let's see how I did on this one. Looks pretty good. They matched up pretty darn good. So let me press them. And you know, sometimes if your fabrics, if your intersections aren't perfect, sometimes you can fold it the opposite way. Oh, I just noticed a big problem here, right there. That's a big problem. So I do need to try to figure that out. I think what I'll do by hand, open up this seam, make this seam allowance on the light fabric bigger, make this one smaller so I can try to bring that down because that's ugly. That's the first one of these that I had done. But now let me bring the camera back up. And, whew, that lamp was bright. All right. So here is the block. But you see my problem. I kind of wish now I had done the same pink around all the edge. I'm trying to make it scrappy. I'm not good at scrappy. So I'm trying to learn, but here is this next block. So I might kind of do a little piddling with this when I forget which of these others that I redid. I know I did those. I redid some of that. But in fact, my Jacob's ladder, I need to touch a little bit up there. Some of the seams didn't quite meet good enough for me. So, and I forgot to bring down my Zen Safari elephant. And I really am anxious to get the rest of, I left it upstairs and I apologize. I was going to show it to you today, but I'm still drawing. I'm still doing all of the doodling on the little, hold on just a second. I'm still doing the doodling on him and trying to incorporate, if you're working on this too, trying to incorporate the doodling into the body shape of that elephant. And because I happened to see another one somewhere on my travels. I happened to see another one. And, oh, Mark is carrying up my new plants. He's a dear heart. But I'm trying to, like, where the trunk and the face has some shape, make curved doodles that emphasize the shape of the elephant. So I'm very excited. My daughter she loves these paint by number, these new canvases you can get pretty inexpensively too, all considered. They're printed canvas and it comes with the little paint pots, and the brushes. And she loves doing those. And she did a really pretty elephant herself. Hi, Lisa. You're so busy at work. Don't even worry. There's one thing that you'll learn about Deb. I have over 100 UFOs. So schedules and all of that, they're not on my radar. And I'm just happy that if anybody wants to make it, I get excited if you can, or if you just enjoy watching it. So do not worry at all. I haven't been on my game because lately I've been busy with all the outdoor activities and trying to weed areas, and I got to get my plants planted and trimming bushes back, all the things you have to do in spring. I haven't had the time to sew as much as I'd like. So, okay. So I forgot to bring down the Zen. You know how I'm going to show you this too. I did the sashing and then the 9 patch for the cornerstones. I really like the look. And it was nice to be able to bring in some of that green. And I think that's very successful in having that. So, happy 24. Oh, Melanie. Yay. Happy anniversary, sweetheart. Oh, that's terrific. You're in the process of washing your unwashed fabric. Good for you. Painting is so therapeutic. Yes. I love it. Doing that Zen elephant is going to be like painting by number for me. When I get it all quilted and I just sit and fill in and decide where colors go, that should be wonderful. I'm enjoying making this, but there's a lot of decisions you have to make, and you've got to be able to match the intersections and all of that. So it's kind of crazy. But anyway, so I'm looking around. Oh, here are my 9-patch blocks. And I've got them in 3 of the different greens. And then here are all my sashing. And I really want to get this together. I don't know about y'all, but I miss quilting. I want to get it on my machine and get it quilted. So I love working on the long arm. I'm not very good quilting on the stationary domestic. Not very good at that. So for me, the difference, if you've ever wondered, the difference between a long arm and using your domestic or stationary, in one of them, let me get an ink pen here. In one of them, it's like you have the paper and you move the pen. The other one, you hold the pen still and move the paper. I'm more comfortable with the long arm because I get to move the pen. So it's kind of an opposite way of doing it. And people tend to find one works easier or is more enjoyable than the other for them. So, well, we can just talk today. I can show you block number 12, which is this block right here. I just think this is so cute. I love those little triangles that poke out there like that. I think it is precious. So we can just, oh, thank you. I'm looking forward to it. We have not, since the pandemic hit 3 years ago, we've only been out to eat one time, and we went to an IHOP. Because sometimes you just have to have an IHOP pancake. Have you ever noticed that the pancakes you make at home just aren't as good as an IHOP pancake? And I think that has to do with you stand there and you're smelling it cooking. And then by the time you eat it, your sense of smell is off. Where if you go in, they put it in front of you. Oh, baby. I like my eggs better than IHOP, although I do like their little link sausage. Like my bacon better, but absolutely, especially something like a pancake where you end up with smelling it a lot while you're cooking it. So anyway, so that's we've only been out to eat once in 3 years. So this will be our second time. And I'm just really in the mood for steak. So I'm going to be a nice, happy carnivore tonight. All right. So what I'll do is while we keep talking, recommend the white cheddar stuffed mushroom. Ooh. Oh, thank you, Lisa. I love this. See, some of y'all, I'm not very worldly. I'm a homebody. So I appreciate when y'all pass on some of the good things that you have found. And I love that. That's what I love about this group too, because we do share. We share the things we know, the things we found out. I love this group. I love having y'all as friends. We get together twice a week, and it's a lot of fun. And below all this fancy shirt, I just got my old T-shirt shorts, that just, and bare feet. So what could be better? All right. So what I'm going to do while we're still talking is I'm just going to, what did I do with my little, I know I just had it. I had my little cutting mat here. And well, now that's frustrating. Oh, I put it away. Surprise, surprise, she put it away. So I'm just going to sit here while we're just chatting away. I'm going to start cutting this. But before I sew it, we're going to do show and tell. So I'm first going to just cut it. And that way, because sometimes when I'm cutting things and you're here, I can say, oh, be aware of this. Oh, watch out for that. And I can explain to you why you're going to be cutting it the way you are. And because I put this pattern on EQ8 when I was at retreat or something, but I hadn't written up the directions. But then I realized that the way I had it worked up right here, where it looks like a square, a square on point in that little area, that would have been a Y seam. And I try to avoid Y seams. Y seams can kind of mess up your day. They're not that bad, but you know what I do when I have to do a Y seam and it really matters? I do it by hand first and then come behind and do it again on the machine, because just trying to get it lined up is kind of wonky. So I redid it, and this morning, in fact, and put it on the site. So I'm hoping that, and if you find a mistake on the pattern, it's called errata, just let me know and I'll fix it and put a note. But none of my blocks come with money back guarantees. They're worth just what you pay for them, which is nothing because they're free. But yeah, Mary's allergic to Y seams. Oh, and Mary can't make those kind of pancakes. I know. It's just like with a cake mix. I'd rather make a cake from a box mix because they got it all worked out. I love that. All right. Now let me see. Is it better to have... Okay, we'll see how this does. All right, so here's my cutting thing. And I just have this, but because it was easy to grab. The first thing I'm going to cut out is 4 3.5 by 2 inch. So these are rectangles of each of 2 colors of background. Okay, and that once again, we've got a smaller square here, and then a rectangle, and a square. Okay? And if you wonder, how do you make that little triangle that's floating out? Very easy. You just take a 3.5 inch square and take a 2 3/8 inch square, do that diagonal line. Boy, we're getting a lot of good practice on drawing a diagonal line or pressing a diagonal line and stitching, then flipping it over, pressing it, cut out underneath. So, you know what? I think I already had a leftover square that I'm going to use as the fussy cut center. Here it is. This I had cut out for the last block, but then I found that other one and thought, oh, that was perfect. So now with this pattern, the fussy cut, instead of being 4.5 inch square, is only 3.5 inch square. So we're going to, and when I'm doing stuff like this, I love to know that y'all are just chatting away. So I'm going to put it on the one mark right here. And this one's 4.5, and I'm going to cut it down to 3.5. I think what I'm going to do is trim off the 1/2 inch from over here. Let me see, because I want it 3.5. Uh-oh, no, I got to trim off a whole inch. Okay, well, maybe I'll trim like 3/4 off over here because I love that little flower, so I don't want to lose that. Okay, so yeah, I'm actually going to trim it 5/8 here. I got the chance to see the not Mancuso, at the Mancuso Greenville show. I got to see the Martelli booth, and I made sure to tell them how much I love their cutters. I said, it allows me to cut fabric sitting down because I have a bad back. And then it's so ergonomic. It's just a dream. I love it. And then when this little screw thing, when it wore out, we called them and they sold us 2 more and sent them out to us. And so I really love the Martelli company. They're awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now, let me see. I'll cut off. Oh, I hate cutting that off, but oh well. I'm just going to have to jump in and do it. You can't make it totally perfect. What I often like to do if I'm going to be doing a lot of fussy cutting is I like taking, okay, good, we're almost there. I just have to take a little bit. Well, maybe I'll just take the rest off of here since I've already had to lose most of that. All right. Well, this side over here is not straight, so let me just straighten that up. But this is, I always worry that I bore you when I do this, but you know what? It might be good for you to see what's the process that I've learned to use. Not because I know more than you, just because I've been doing this since 1989 or 90. That's a long time. So, all right, I'll put it on the 1/2 inch here. Trim this. All right, so I have it correctly. Oops. This mat that I'm using is an inexpensive mat. It was a freebie. And unfortunately, when they're too soft, material is too soft, the cutter tends to kind of cut into it, and it's sometimes hard to get all of the threads nice. So, all right, I want that 1 rose, so I'm going to have to trim more off this end. All right, so now I've got perfect 3.5 inch fussy cut square for the center. Done. All right, now, then I need to cut 2 inch squares of the medium color. All right, I don't think, ooh, that looks, well, no, I don't want to, I want to use something a little, let me see. No, I guess I did want, yes, these are for, that's, okay. I can use these. So here, you know what? That's all I have left. I better hold on to that. Okay. I just need 4 of this. They're 2 inch squares. So I'm going to fold this to 4.5 inches. That way, I know I've got enough to make 4 2 inch squares. So I'll come here and trim this fold. So now I have 2 strips. I come up here, trim it on 4. Okay. So, you know, be careful of cheap mats. And it's like Mark always tries to stress on me. Deb, you get what you pay for, because he knows I'm so ridiculously cheap. But if the mat is too hard or brittle, that's not good. But if it's too soft like this one, it's really hard to get clean cuts. Okay, so there are my 4, and these are for right there. Okay, now it looks like I want to use the same fabric, but I need a bigger one. Okay, I need that same fabric, but I need a piece that's 2 3/8, and I need 4 of those. And this is not going to be 2 3/8. No, it won't. But let me see. I've got this scrap stuff. Ooh, is this going to be 2 3/8. Nope. Oh, this would be, and these were a mistake. So I can probably, I've got 2 of them. No, that's only a partial. Where is, I thought I might have one more of these. I am a fiend at using scrappy fabrics. Well, let me see. So I'm thinking I can get 2 out of this piece and at least 1 there. So let me go ahead and, now some people tell you, I had a teacher one time that said, do not trust the markings on the cutting mat. That to always have a ruler and double check everything. But you know what? I don't do that. Okay, 2 3/8 would be 6/8, which would be 3/4. So 4 3/4 is what I need the length of this piece to be. And I wasn't that good in math in school, so I'm glad that finally it makes sense to me better now. All right, so this is going to need to be 2 3/8. Bring this over here. And if you have any questions. Oh, hi, Laura, sweetie. No problem. And luckily, you know, we've still got plenty of time, so you can jump right in. And have you ever noticed, I hate cutting 3/8 or 7/8. And I really contemplated, you know, should I bump it up for them? But then I thought, I'm a little nervous because it's probably going to be something that'll throw off their measurements. So, okay, there we go. But it's good to see you, Laura, sweetie. And I never mind if y'all forget and are late getting here, because that means you have a life. Good for you. All right, let's see here. Whoops. Okay. I pressed that so I would know exactly where to cut it. So let me get this. All right, here are two of the 2 3/8. And see, at 3/8 does make a difference in size. That really does. Okay, let me bring that up so you see what I'm doing better. All right, now I'm going to come over here to this scrap I have. And I have to be able to get it to, oh, I'm not sure if it will exactly get to it, but let's see. I have one of these seam rippers upstairs that is so dull. If I wanted to cut something, I couldn't. I mean, I thought that was ridiculous. So some of the seam rippers are made out of a pretty cheap metal that doesn't hold its point. And if you get it, that's another thing. If you're going to get a seam ripper, get a good one. It'll last, because if it's that cheap metal, use it a few times and it will be dull. So, okay, let me see. Almost done with this. I'll just cut out 3 for now, and then I might be able to go upstairs. I left the fabric bag upstairs, and I might be able to go up there and try to find for my 4th one. All right. All right. Let me press out the former seam. Okay, let's see if I can get one of these. Oh, look at that. Just can. Isn't that cool? I love it. I love it. because I've been hoping, I made these by mistake. I made too many way back. And I've been hoping with all these blocks I'd have a reason to use it. And now I did. Okay. Now, what I can probably do, since these are bigger, these are the ones that you're going to sew on the 3.5-inch block and then sew on the diagonal and flip it over. So I bet you this triangle will be big enough. So I think I've solved that just by having a big enough triangle left. All right, so I will keep these with these blocks. So let me make, hold on, let me make some space here. Center block. And then these. All right. So now I've got to decide how I'm going to do this background. Am I going to make it scrappy? And I'm going to say yes. And the reason I'm going to say yes is because that's how I've done the rest. So I've got some smaller squares here. I'll see if I can use them. I don't think so. No, I think it's just going to be these cornerstones. And I think this toile would be really, really pretty for the 3.5-inch corners. So this piece right here, okay. So if I come in right here, pull, and let me see how I'm doing here. Okay, it's 3.5 this way. Now I just need to trim it up this way. Now, normally when I do my cutting, I don't do one little piece at a time. I get my June Taylor slotted ruler and I cut, you know, big amounts of things. But for this, and since we're sitting here and chatting, this will work fine. All right. And believe it or not, now, this is why sometimes my stuff isn't perfect, but I'll take this piece and I'll lay it on this folded fabric right here. And I'll check and see if I have enough. I don't know if y'all ever do this, but I probably shouldn't. I probably should be more careful every step of the way. But it's my quilt. I'm in my house. I can make my own rule. So this, to me, was a lot faster than trying to do all the cutting out. And I just need one more. So I'll come to the next space here. And if I'm very careful, I can just cut around these without cutting them. Okay. There. So now I have all 4 of that. Now, to use what I'm going to be doing with these is I'll be laying, I've got to make sure to measure and see if this is 2 3/8. It's just a touch longer. So I'm going to trim off this. And I'm just seeing that that side would be 2 3/8. That looks good. So what I'm going to do to make this block is I'm looking at the way I want it to be this side up. And then I'll come here and I'll lay, since I only have a triangle, I will come here and lay this triangle this way, come in with some chalk and mark it. And then I'll know to put the seam allowance, to put the amount of the seam allowance up that way. See what I'm doing? So now I know that when I stitch along here, I can flip and it will fit. So when we get ready to sew, I've already got that one on. And then these, to make things just a little faster. Now, understand that with saving time, you sometimes, or most of the time, lose accuracy. But I put these three together, making sure they're lined up good. I come drop them under the iron, making sure that I'm going point to point. I'm getting the points right. Whoops, this side moved. So let me line this side back up. Okay, so I press nice and hard. Then when comes time to sew, I just follow my pressed line because I can't stand to draw on fabric. So those go over by the sewing machine. Now, then I need to take, I think I'll use this fabric. And it's almost time to go to show and tell. So I'll make this one fast so we can get to show and tell. Now these little rectangles that are going to go, see how they go around the block, around this block right here? So I need those. Three and a half by 2 for each of 2 colors of the background for 8 total. 3.5 by 2. Yep. Okay. I think I'm going to make those all the same. And so what I'm going to do with this, in fact, this part right here, I know will make 2 inches. So I'll put it on the line here, then line up my ruler here. Okay, that's lined up. Check down under here. Okay. Making sure. All right. But if I know that I've got to have quite a few of these, I'd rather cut the piece all at once. There, 2 inches. And now what I'll do is just cut segments 3. So I'll fold it over again so that I've got 4 layers. People sometimes say, well, how do you sew so fast? And I've just learned to do little shortcuts like this. Back when my kids were little, I only had a few minutes to sew. All right, so now I'm going to flip this board around so I'm looking at the numbers correctly. And I'll line this up over here. I'm going to hold on. I want to even up the fabric here. Then I'm going to place it on a line, and where the end is not perfectly square, I'm going to trim it up. That's all these little steps help you get a more accurate piece. Then I'm cutting it to 3.5. Okay, so here's a 2 inch by 3.5 inch rectangle. That's 4 of them, and I need 8. So 2 inch. Okay. Now, if you want to do it more scrappy, you could use 2 different fabrics. All right, 3.5 inches. Line it up and trim. All right. And what I will do is take my 2 inch square and sew it to the end of 4 of the rectangles. So when I put them together, it's like a little bit like a log cabin. You will take, here it is, you'll take and you'll sew on these. You'll sew one this way, and then the one that has the one that has this on it will make up the difference when you do this. See how that works? So, okay. So it's kind of nice. I'm able to right now kind of double check my pattern to see if I wrote it correctly. All right. And that fabric, yeah, we're almost done with that. All right. So these go over by the machine. Then let's cut for the, oh, here we go. Let's cut for the quarter square triangle blocks, the quarter square right here. See, because I put a line across here. So we're going to make little tiny flying geese, and then this as a quarter square triangle, which is all straight sewing, no Y seams. How to remove smoke smell from delicate lace. Yes, you need to get some vodka and water and put it in a spray bottle and spray it on, then sit it outside. You can set it outside in the sun or someplace, but let it air out. You may have to do that a couple of times, but vodka, just plain uncolored vodka and water, spray it on. It works wonders. People swear by it. So that is a good question. I'm glad I could answer it. So, Mark is making me my favorite birthday cake. It is an Italian cream cake, and I'm so excited. All right, so now the fabric I'm going to use is, I think, this. And so I need to cut, I'm going to have 4 of these quarter square triangle blocks right here. Now it's called a quarter square because you've got 2 that are alike and 2 that are different. Okay, so I need 2 4¼ blocks of this. And I might need to come back and get more. We'll see. But, okay. Let's see. 4¼ All right. So what I'm going to do is cut this up this side. Cut it loose here. You can see where I fussy cut. That's how come I had a hole in the middle of the fabric. But for right now, I'm going to cut 2 of these. This looks pretty straight. Then I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4¼ Come right here with these. This. Oops. Take your time to get it straight. If you're not sure, double check, because it's so much better to be careful before you cut. You can't uncut anything. Okay. So let me go ahead and trim this edge here. And the reason I know I need to cut 2 of these is because this fabric is going to be seen 2 times in each block. Okay. So the rest of them only get seen once, but these twice. All right. So 4¼ Get it lined up and cut. All right. And I'm not worried about fussy cutting because you're only going to see 1/4 at a time. All right. So that's 1. Now let me see. Aha. Yes, I can do another one out of the, I love it when I can do this. This makes my frugal heart happy when I can cut it out of a scrap and leave a larger. I always cut from the smallest pieces of scrap I have because that leaves you more flexibility down the line when I want to use this fabric again. All right, then I'm going to take and cut 1 of these. Wait a minute. No, I don't need one of these yet. No. But I do need one from this and one from the background. That's what it was. Yes, I need a background. So I'm going to carefully, because I'm tired of measuring, I'm going to carefully lay this, make sure the edges are good. Now, if you're new to quilting, don't pay attention to this. This is somebody who's done it too many times to be believed. All right. And I only need, one layer. Good. Line this up. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pull it over here so I'll have a bigger piece left over. Waste not, want not. Okay. So I'll just come over here and trim this. Okay. And then come trim it this way. Okay. All right, so now I have that. Then I need this light blue cut into a 4 1/4 inch square. All right. Well, I'll do it from over here. Okay. 4 1/4. And since I'm cutting this from a bigger piece of fabric, I'm just going to cut it with the rulers, not use the other pieces. I would hate to accidentally cut one of those. Okay, so now 4 1/4 this way. All right. So line that and that. All right, now these are going to be sewn on the diagonal. That good old half square triangle, then do it again, so it's a 1/4 square. And so what I like to do, I like to put the diagonal lines on the lighter fabrics. It's easier to see on the lighter fabrics. So I'm going to take these, line this up. Never iron your mat. I guarantee you, you will not be happy with the results. So then just iron this on the crease. And what you're going to end up doing, let me press these too to get these nice and straight. What you're going to end up doing to make these is you're going to take one of the dark reds and pair it with this light. Okay, maybe I'll lay it this way. And that way then you can see right, you're going to sew a 1/4 inch on either side of the crease. Then you're going to take this one, put right sides together, and sew a 1/4 inch down either side of that crease. Then when you cut these apart, you'll have 2 reds and whites and 2 reds and blues. And then you start assembling them from there. And hopefully that works out right. I might have to end up cutting one more of one. We'll see when it gets there. All right, I just need to do one quick little cut, and then we're ready to go do show and tell. So I'll put this over here now. The only thing I have left to do is for the flying geese, 2 3/4 by 4 1/4 rectangle of contrasting fabric. So that's of this. Okay, and then this is going to be the other part of the flying geese. And I have to make 4 little flying geese. So I need here 4, 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. So let's see. That will work. Well, maybe not when I get down to here. Let's see. That's a little too close. So I'm going to come down here and I have to make 4 of these. All right, so I want 4 1/4. So what I'm doing here is just cutting about 1/2 inch so I can then pull and tear the fabric. I love doing that because you get a perfectly straight line. I can already see this side was torn. So when I tear that side, then I know I've got the perfect amount. So now I have to make 4 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. So I've got the 4 1/4. So what I need to do is 2 times 2 3/4, 6/4. Hold on. I've got to do math, and this one I can't just do in my head. So let me grab a piece of paper, and I have to do 2 3/4 and 2 3/4. Well, that would be 6/4, which would add 1 more, and then would leave 2/4. 2/4, and so it would be a half. So I've got 2 and 2 is 4, plus 1 from the 3/4 and 3/4, plus 1/2. So that altogether, I need 5 1/2 inches. Am I doing this right? 2 3/4, 2 3/4. Yes. So if I do a 5 1/2 inch fold here, I'm probably really confusing you, but I just want to know that I've got enough fabric here to make my all 4 cuts. So that's there. Okay. All right. So I'm going to come here and cut it at 5 1/2, and it's folded double. 5 1/2. Hold on. Let go. All right. So I'm done with this fabric. Get it put away. So now I've got 5 1/2. And then I'm going to come over here and just take the sliver off this fold. I left it hanging over just a touch. By the time I take that sliver off, now I've got 2 separate pieces. Now I just come in and cut them in half. And I already know what the half is, 2 3/4. So if I come up here to 2 3/4, there, okay, there I go. Now I've got the 4 rectangles that I need to make the flying geese. And the only other thing I need are the little wings for the flying geese. And for that, I need to bring this in, and I need 2 3/4 inch squares. And I need 8 of them. Yep, 8 of them. So since I've already torn this side, I know I can do it again. So I'm going to go 2 3/4 right here. And then, 1, 2 3/4, yes. Then just tear. And I know that if I make this, now I only had to do 4 of those. I've got to do 8. Oh, okay. So I need 11. I need to put this. That's going to be tricky. All right. I'm just going to do them one at a time. It's getting too tricky now to try to fold them in half. I could do it if I wanted to take the time and do the math. I could tear a strip enough to do 8 and then go from there. But I'm not going to push my luck right now. So I'll just come in and do them one at a time. Now, if you have a lot of the same thing to cut time after time after time, then what you can do is put a piece of tape on the ruler or the mat to show you where to put down, where to make the cut each time, so you don't have to feel like you're always, counting. All those little tips make life so much easier. But that's why I love my June Taylor slotted ruler. But I would have to use that, I'd have to have a bigger cutting mat here right now. So that was 4. I need 4 more. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the end here, and I may have to get a little bit more. Now here, since I've already got the finite edge of a strip, I'll put this together, put it right on the line, and cut 2 3/4. Okay, and this will make 1 more. I'll just be 1 short. I thought I might be. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So what I'm going to do then, make sure this doesn't look right. Oh, this one was, I don't know, that's, let me see, 2 3/4. Okay, so this piece, for some reason, is too short. Wait, no, it's not. That doesn't, wait a minute. Yes, it is. It's a little bit too short. Okay, so I'm going to cut 2 more. If this is 5 1/2, which it is, yay, this will be big enough. Let me tear off this selvage. Put the ruler here, 2 3/4. All right, that'll do it. Get that out of the way. And then we'll get ready to show and tell. And then I might just sit and do a little bit of putting this together. All right, pull this to the edge. 2 3/4. 1 more. Okay. And 2 3/4. All right. And believe it or not, if I had used the June Taylor ruler and a bigger mat, I would have been done before now. That June Taylor slotted ruler, or any of the slotted rulers, will cut your cutting time easily by half, if not more. All right. So now we've cut out everything that we needed for this. And let's do show and tell. That's how Deb cuts up fabric for block. A little bit haphazard, but I get it done. All right, now I'm so excited. Let me see if I can turn this camera. Oops, don't loosen it there. Oh, okay, hold on. I need to pull this cord. Oh, okay. All right. Now, let me turn the camera this way, and That way you'll be able to see. You'll be able to see me with my computer stand. How cool is this? I love it. Loosen it first. Get it lined up just right. Oh, this is just too cool for words. All right, let me turn off my lights around here. So, all right, here we go. Got all my things plugged in good. Y'all are there. Okay. All right. So let's look. Turn this sewing machine off because I don't want anything reflecting. All right. Let's go see what we have here. Beak. All right. So let's see. Oh, and just so some of you might not remember what we're doing with the Zen Safari, I'm doing an elephant, and it's loosely, this is what gave me the idea. This is what gave me the idea. I don't know, let me get this off. Okay. This is what gave me the idea of doing, it's a puzzle, and I thought, how cool would that be to do like a Zen doodle elephant and then be able to color in all the different colors. All right. And so then we're taking all different kinds of African prints and using the patterns in the African prints to then fill in the doodle areas on our African animal. And there's one more thing I wanted to show you here. This week I was so excited. Maybe it was the last week. I saw this bird at my feeder, and he is the ruby-breasted grosbeak, and it's a male. And I was so excited because they were traveling. So he stopped by my feeder to get boosted up on food, and I've not seen him again. So I just thought I'd tell you that was very exciting for me. I love wild birds, but I knew I'd never seen that one. So I had to go get my copy of my Audubon book and look him up. Okay, so now I've refreshed you on, and then, I was going to show you the Bargello, but it's mostly documents. So let's take a look at Miss Betty's folder and look at Miss Betty's. I love her woodland waterfall, and I think she did an exceptional job on her waterfall. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Way to go, Miss Betty. So let us know how that does. All right, because I know she shows it different places. Miss BB. Miss BB had put so many wonderful pictures up that I went back to her folder. Look at this. Isn't it beautiful? And I'm loving the writing and the designs that she puts on these. So I'm not sure. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? I don't know if this is Muslim writing or if it's Hebrew. It is just beautiful. So Miss BB, let us know. But your colors, your patterns are gorgeous. And that's Miss BB. And here, that's right. She is the tatting queen. Oh my goodness, look at that beautiful work. So talented. I want to learn tatting, but I tell you what, I won't be doing anything that complicated. That's amazing. Okay, so right here is a towel, and she's done the tatting, and it's joined. And look at that beautiful treatment, that trim that she put on that towel. And then you saw this quilt before. And I think, when I said this reminds me of Moroccan colors. So I think we're in the right part of the world. Those are just beautiful together. And then look at her stained glass hummingbird quilt. Isn't that beautiful? I'd like to do another stained glass quilt this year. So we'll put that on our list of things to do. We've got a triptych we're going to do like Miss Nazi, and then I'd like to do stained glass like Miss BB here. So beautiful work. Thank you so much. Anybody that would like to put work or to send their work to our group, just send me an email at OurTimeToQuilt@twc.com. And I will love to display your work. This is Miss Bonnie's. This is Dan, her friend, and they do reenactment. And they had an event recently to drum up new members and interest in reenacting. And here's our Miss Bonnie and the outfit that she made that she does the reenactment in. Very good, Miss Bonnie. I love that. There are so many wonderful things in this world. Okay, Miss Brenda. And Miss Brenda, don't forget, she will sell things online. You don't have to be in person in Michigan. And she has her own shop now. So this is wonderful. Okay, and there is her shop. I love that. There's her information. And here's a view from inside her store. I just love it. And then look at this beautiful bluebird she's working on. Isn't that beautiful? Way to go, Miss Brenda. Now, let's see. I have a few things, but unfortunately I didn't get everything off the camera. I think I gotta find which. Here we go. All right, so Miss Blossom got her grooming appointment and vet appointment so she's good for a while. And this is Daddy's come home, and they are so excited that he is back home from his beach trip. And I just thought that was so sweet. You thought you might want to see that. And there he is, and they're just loving him, trying to see who can love him more. Oops, sorry, that photo. Couldn't show that one. I took a real quick picture of this. This is my clematis or clematis. I don't know how you say it. It depends on where you are, I guess. And it's a double or triple. It's amazing. And I wish the colors were a little darker, but it is really beautiful. And it's been blooming now for a couple of weeks. And this was out my front sewing window, little Dutch iris and some kind of other little flower. Then my daughter got a tattoo. It's a freesia flower, and it's to remind her of her fierce inner self. And I thought that was delicate and pretty. And here is Miss Polly with her gym shorts on so she won't mess with her incision. And I had a really good day with her Friday. Let me see. She's coming down off her pain meds and doing beautifully. Then my one daughter went to buy plants, and the little farm she was buying them from put this sign out. It says, "Slow, please. Your plants won't run away." I thought that is so cute. This is that same daughter that sent that plant sign, and she lives on the eastern shore of Maryland. And is that a big sky or what? It is amazing. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? The farm field and then that big sky. I love when she sends pictures. Here are the plants she bought that day. They had some Mennonite farms. She mostly Mennonite nurseries she goes to. But I love her choice. I'm just sad I'm not there. I would love to be there buying plants with her. So hopefully next year. Now, let me see. I will see in just after I finish showing you everyone else's, I'll see if I can somehow show some new ones. Okay, Debbie, let's see what Debbie has done. And look at I just love it. Good job, you ladies. Each one has their own touch, their own signature. Way to go. Okay. I love this beautiful Easter quilt. Come on. I love these. I love red work. That looks like fun. Look at that. Here is her quilt at an area show. I love it. Sitting out there, and I'm hoping it'll bring other people into wanting to also do landscape and art quilting. And then they went to a craft, was it a kind of craft fair or craft museum? And look at this hand craftsmanship. Isn't it wonderful? That's what I love about life. That's what really makes me happy. And look at this cute little, I'm trying to get it to get bigger. There we go. And I love the little stuffed animals that are looking down below. But that is so cute. And then a shot from above. Look at the tumbler quilt. I'm loving all of this. So there are, to me, if you're here, you're most likely a craft person or an artist. And it really, really makes life more enjoyable. So it's a good thing to do. Now here is Diana Bicknell's, and I love her quilts, the redwoods she grew up with as a child. Isn't that wonderful? The owls. Oh, I love that thread. If she did that thread painting, I am in awe. It's beautiful. The prettiest studio I've ever seen. Love that. Her cute puppy. I'm wondering what her plants look like now. I bet you they are amazing. Her granddaughter quilt. Whoops, I didn't mean to go by that fast. Every once in a while, my finger just will jump on its own. There's her granddaughter quilting her. I forgot what they're called. It's like a strip piece chase. And it's so neat looking. This was an antique quilt someone found and gave to her. Love it. I love the colors and the shadowing in this. So 3D. And her nice panel quilt. So thank you so much. And keep sending me your photos because we love seeing them. I'm not sure if I have anything really new, but this is Diana from Diana's Sewing Adventures. Love this. So let's see what else. I was hoping to have time to go through these, but I didn't. This is Jerry from Ohio, and I'm hoping she'll send us some more too, because each one of you has your own signature, your own voice, and I love seeing it. And it does inspire us, so keep it going. I love this 1960s cat. Isn't that neat? Love that. And her heart pillows and a Bargello. So we will be doing our own Bargello. I can't wait. All right, who is next? Miss Jody has been very busy with her neutrals quilt. And would you call this a neutrals postage stamp, maybe? Isn't it amazing? I am so tickled with it. Now, you think that's good? Watch this. Look at this. That is one huge quilt. Isn't that amazing? I think she said it was king size bed, but that is so beautiful, Miss Jody. And when it started out, it was just a bunch of little blocks. So she's working on both of these, a 9-patch and the neutrals. And it's beautiful, beautiful. So way to go, Miss Jody. And everyone be thinking about her this Thursday. It's going to be her Freedom Day. Cannot wait. And these are Miss Lisa's nod to the 19th century block. Okay, and I love her beautiful colors, her happy colors. Very, very nice. Love them. She is really good at using pinks. I noticed that when she was working on her Exploding Heart quilt. All right, Miss Mary, get ready for a wonderful ride through spring into summer. Look at this. Isn't this beautiful? I love it. She's been busy planting things. Tomatoes. Oh, I love all of this. Oh, is that a dahlia? I think that's a dahlia. I used to grow those years ago. I think she's got some snapdragons down here. Oh, that's going to be so much fun. So much fun. And down here, I can't tell whether it's a Gerber or daisy or whether it is a zinnia or something, but that looks really neat down there. Wouldn't it be fun if we could take tours of each other's yards? We'll have to do it by photos. That's probably the best way. So phlox and petunias and bright something, a cosmos, yellow cosmos. Beautiful, beautiful. Bright lights, I think is what they call that cosmos. But lantana. She's got a nice, already blooming. Look at her lantanas. Oh, Alyssum. I bet you they smell really pretty. And impatiens. That is so nice, Miss Mary. I want to come visit. And then here is her succulent bed. And she's got some yarrow here. She's got some hens and chicks. Or is that hens and chicks? Or, now I've forgotten. Euphorbia. And I love her rooster statue there. And this, if it's what I think, it's a coral bell. And that's lovely. So good job. And, she backs up onto like the just beautiful open land. So she has to kind of protect to keep the critters from eating her stuff. Okay. And her wonderful rose bush that is just always there for her. Love that. Love them. I have about 4 or 5 knockout roses and I adore them. So, this is the back of a quilt that she made in honor of King Charles III. I bet you she was watching that coronation yesterday, and she even put jewels, I think, on the crown. Isn't that cute as can be? Yeah, Mark was watching the coronation, and that's neat. But my heart is with Harry. That's all I'm going to say. All right. So thank you, Miss Mary, for all those fresh new photos. We love it. So feel free to all send us your photos. We need some nice, fresh new ones. And I would love to see your yard. see what it's like where you live, nature, all of that good stuff. We got some new fresh photos from our Meltem in Turkey. Now, we saw this one last week, but there are a couple new ones coming. I love her Crazy Quilt book cover with the antique lace. Isn't that lovely? That's fun and makes you happy. And it looks like she used stitches off of her sewing machine. How nice. Maybe we'll have to try a book cover, especially with summer coming up. Look at this pouch, a zippered pouch with the Dresden fan, I guess you'd call it. I love that. Look at this another zippered pouch. Isn't she talented? And I love the way she displays her things. She's very much an artist. There's a side view of that zippered pouch. The back view of the zippered pouch. Then she took a walk out in the rain the other day. So this is in Turkey. She took a walk just to be with her own thoughts, because the good news is it's not crowded at the parks when it's raining. Isn't that lovely? And I love that she sent that to us. And I love seeing a weeping willow. I recognize that. We might not recognize all of the plants, but there are plenty that we do share. But isn't that just beautiful? What a great picture. I love the way the sidewalk is paved and painted. So thank you so much for sending these. There's the inside. Look at the finish on those pouches. I wonder if she sells them on Etsy, because her finish is immaculate. Way to go. And then here is her book cover with it fully open so you can see. And I love the place marker, this little bead and the twine. So thank you, Miss Meltem. Wonderful. Okay, I think we're nearly done. Let's see. Don't think I have any new ones down here. No, I showed you this, but this is, oh, wait a minute. What is this one? That's pretty. And, or was that one, that might have been Alberta's from Alabama. This is her granddaughter's Easter basket, and I love showing this. This was our Time to Quilt COVID quilt. We made blocks and exchanged them. That's lovely, hon. Okay, now the back. I don't think I had anything new from, no, I don't think I have. If I had something new and I missed it, I apologize. Now, did I get anything new from SJ? I think I did. I think these two were new. And she got these quilts finished. This she did at Lisa Capin's site. It was a quilt as you go. Yay. Good job finishing that. And then there's the back of it. So since it's quilt as you go, when you're sewing on it and quilting on each individual block, then you've got them ready to go. And our Bargello quilt is going to be a quilt as you go. So I think, okay, I think that was very easy. I tell you what, it wasn't that long ago that I would have to try to hold the camera into position to show you the photos, and my arm would get so sore because the camera was off center. What a mess. And now I just take my computer stand and I just turn it back around. So that was nice. All righty. Let me come back to y'all, see where you are. Oh, who was she hearing reading? Oh, I bet you it was wonderful. Yes, we do get mildew on some of our flowers and plants. They say, what is it you use, vinegar and water? I'm trying to remember. I'll have to try to remember what they said to help prevent powdery mildew. So, it's bright out that window. Now let me get this tilted down. So I think Mark is working outside on things. So I have a few minutes to kill. So what if I started working on this block? And if you can't stay, I totally understand. But I think we'll work on this block, and maybe I'll do the quarter square triangle blocks first. So in case you have any worry or concern about how to do those, I'll show you. All right. Bye. And thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions at all, so this is something I haven't worked out to make sure I have enough. But let's see. Now my stitch length, I'm going to make it just slightly. I'm going to make the stitch length 2.2. And I'm going to come and sew a 1/4 inch on either side of this crease. Whoops. Let me get you turned this way more. All right. So here we go. And since I've got this under the needle already and it makes it easier, I'm going to go ahead and feed this one in as well. And that way I don't have to have a leader, ender, whatever, scrap of fabric to keep the fabric from being pulled down into the machine. All right, now what I do is just spin them around, put them back in place. Here I go. There we go. Spin it around and then off I go down the next side. Okay, get this one under the needle correctly. All right. Oop. My bobbin I think my bobbin has run out. It's all fun and games until the bobbin runs out. No, it didn't run out, but, oh, it got tangled. Okay. Sometimes when they get low, they'll tangle with the initial little tail part of the bobbin. All right, so now slip this back under. I love keeping plenty of bobbins wound so I don't have to stop and wind them every time. Okay, so now let me get my scissors. I'm going to use my longer scissors to cut these apart. If I use the short little snips, I have to do too many stops and starts. So I cut out a wedge, like right here. Look, let me pull the light back. I cut out the wedge. Then I cut straight down the center. Then when I cut off this side, I go towards this edge like that. Then I can take and nip this edge off. And that removes any bunny tails, doggy tails, puppy tails, whatever you call them. And I'll open this up, and I've got half of the dark and half of this blue. Let me bring my iron these. Remember, if you take them to the iron with the dark side up like this, then when you put it on the ironing board and iron it, it's already the right direction. And that way your seam allowances will go to the dark. All right. My iron was sleeping. I had to wake it back up. All right. So here are the 2 blocks I got from that. Then I'll come in here and cut a V here to get rid of those bunny ears. Then go over towards this side. Then come in here, come towards that side. And now I'll go press these. There's just all these little hints, like by carrying it over to the ironing board with the dark on the top, then when you lay it on the ironing board and open it up, you will automatically press the seam towards the dark. And I think that's what helps me sew a little faster. Not that sewing fast is always the, end all be all. Okay, I'm going to bring this up. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I need to sew these together. Let me see. To know if you've got them right, and because you press to the dark, you can nestle the seams. But to know if you've got it right, pull back half. And there it is. That's perfect. I've got one of this, one of that, and two of that. So now what I'm going to do, take this over to the iron, and I'm going to iron the next crease because I'm going to be now sewing crosswise to the ones I already did. So I'll come over here, press this. But this to me was a lot easier than having you try to do Y seams. So now I've got this pressed. So I come in here, place it. You just have to always remember to fold back to see if it looks like what you want the finished block to look like. Okay, I'm going to turn it around like this. Put it back under the needle and start going down the other side. Okay. And then do the same thing with the cutting the little notch out. And coming up here and going to that side. Going to this side. Now, this, how will I press this? Well, these two are darker than this one. So this side, I'll hold this fabric up here. I'll put this fabric on the top here, and when I press them, they'll be correct. Do remember that you can't always press to the dark, but it's important because if you can see any shadowing of a dark seam behind your light one, it'll count off of you. It'll count off in a contest, but it will also look bad and bother you. So now I have to put these two together again. So I'm putting the reds opposite each other and then nestling. Let me get these seams nestled really good. What I mean by nestling, if this seam is ironed this way, this seam is ironed that way. So where they meet, there's kind of a ridge right here and a ridge right there. And if you just push those together, you can kind of feel them nestling in. Then don't forget to open it back and go, yep, each color, 2 reds, 1 blue, 1 white. So I'm going to go iron this together so now I can sew it. But, when you're working on any quilt project, just break it down to the smallest common denominator, the smallest unit, and no matter how complicated a quilt looks, you can usually figure out how they've done it. Oops, my thread's broken. Let me start this again. Okay. This is my Elna. I've had this machine 20 years. And I'm so glad I was going to sell it before, but I'm so glad I didn't because my newer machines, I've had a little trouble with those. So, but thank goodness the little bit I would have gotten for this machine wouldn't be worth not having it here. So I'm glad I held on to this. I never thought I would need more than one machine. But if it becomes this big a part of your life, then And it's nice to have a machine upstairs and downstairs, so I'm not, I can sew upstairs if I'm cooking dinner and trying to do something or waiting for a phone call, or I can come down to the studio when I have more time to be down here. So, all right. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick up the two darker colors, take them to the ironing board. Okay. So now what I needed was 4 of those blocks. So let's see if we did it. And here we are. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. Pretty cool, huh? It worked. So the numbers that I gave you in the pattern have been proven to be correct. Now, the other thing, let's work on some flying geese. I'll show you just how easy the flying geese are. Okay. Let me do, you know what? Some of these do appear. Hold on just a second. I kept thinking that some of these looked odd. And, they're just a touch too long. So I'm going to take my scissors, trim them to more of a square. If you're not sure if you've got a true square, then you know what? Just take and fold it in half like that, and you'll know. So here's one that looks a little off. It doesn't quite look like a square. If you take and try to put it together, it won't meet. And so when you meet, if you have this just right, that's how much bigger, how much wider it was than tall, and you can just trim that right off. But a square can be folded diagonally and makes a perfect triangle. All right, so some of these, I'm not sure what I did, but I got some of these too big. But let me just take 2 that I know are right, and let's make, I didn't do a great big flying geese where you make 4 at a time, because I said, you know what, these are just tiny little things, and I'm just going to do them 1 at a time. There's a time to do 4 at a time, and there's a time to do 1 at a time. And I only need 4 of these. So what you do here is you put this diagonal line this way, right sides together, and that way when you fold it back, there you go. That's 1/2 of your flying goose block. All right, you line it up, and this time you don't stitch on either side of your crease. You stitch 1 scant thread to this side. When you fold the fabric over, it actually uses space for the fold. So you do 1 scant, you call it a scant stitch on the other side, or some people, you've heard of scant 1/4 inch, but you just picture 1 thread and do 1 thread on that side of the crease. And then that way, when you finish and you bring it out and you fold it over, you have enough room for this to meet at the edge. Look at that. It met pretty good. Let me press it real quick. And you don't cut off your excess until you're done making this whole block. Okay. Okay, but look at that. That's pretty good. It met up really good there. Then I take this other one. This is what confuses some people when you make a flying goose or flying geese blocks. You end up overlapping, and it's supposed to. So don't worry if you see that. Now this, I'm going to sew this way, but 1 thread to that direction. Here's the part that gets folded over. One thread that side of the crease, not right on the crease, not a quarter of an inch away from the crease, just one thread width. And then, let me show you. Then when you press this one, now I might have been a little far, yeah, because I just realized, oh, I've got a little too much. So before I do any pressing, I'm going to come back and come a little closer to that crease. I was a little far off that. So I just come back, put it just a touch closer. Now, when I press there, I get a perfect flying goose. So, and then once, okay, it's pressed to the dark. Now, if it looks good, you can come in here. Now, you know what? This one even pressed a little. It's hanging over just a little, and you want the original rectangle is the finished size of the flying geese. So if you see any of this, the front hanging over, trim it first because this sets the size. The rectangle is the size that the finished flying goose is supposed to be. All right, so I'll come up, cut that off. Some people save their triangles and use them to make little miniature quilts. I don't know if I'll have any time for that, but there is now my finished flying goose. So I've shown you the two trickiest parts of this quilt, the quilt block. Here, well, let me show you real quick. Okay, this is one of the toile, and it has these cute little, oh, in fact, I think, so what you're going to do is you're going to take and you're going to lay this in the corner. There's your crease. You're going to sew just this side of the crease because, again, you're folding over. You need that extra thread to give you room to fold over. So this is the only other part that has any trickiness to it at all. Then when you go to press, let me press it really quickly. Let's see how I did. Looks pretty darn good. So now I can trim this off. And that's how you get those cute little triangles that look like they're floating. So there we are. There are all the components that you need to do to make this really cute block. I love that block. I knew it had to be in this quilt. Okay, so I think we're done for today. And I think I hear Mark upstairs. So that must mean that he's getting ready for us to go out to dinner. Yay! Any questions that you have, anyone? And thank you for the sweet people of y'all who stayed with me. I think we're going to have a lot of fun when we do our week of classes in July. And so we'll keep talking about it, as we get closer and closer to the dates. And you'll have a pattern, you'll have a list of supplies, and I think it'll be fun. All right, you sweetie pies. Well, I'm going to go out for my birthday dinner. And I made sure I haven't eaten anything yet today because I want to have nice steak. All right, take good care of yourselves. And yes, and thank you to Miss Marcia for being such a lovely hostess. So good seeing all of you. Take good care. I'll see you Thursday night. And be real good to yourself because you're very special to me. You're special to a lot of people I know. It's so good to see you again, Diane 57. So good. Vicky Robles. Hi, darling. How are you? Oh my gosh, how nice to see you. Take good care. Don't work too hard, Miss Lisa. Oh, I feel bad for you. You are a busy lady. Take good care. I'll see you Thursday and next Sunday. Bye-bye. Next Sunday's Mother's Day. Bye-bye.